Hey, what's really good? This is your boy DJ Spitta, and this is the Alien Beats podcast, presenting to you The Frequency of Us, a podcast comprised of me and Daphne, both spiritual partners in this evolution of time. We're talking about space, we're talking about life, we're talking about reality, we're talking about face value in the mud, in your face, juicy subjects, and it's just great to let loose, you know? You don't always have to keep the narrative to yourself, you know? This is the whole point of it, right? Have a podcast, spread the love, spread the knowledge, spread the wisdom, spread the awareness of remembering who we are. What is the frequency of us, right? What is that frequency? It's a great question, and today we're going to explore that a little bit more. Now, before we proceed, I just want to go ahead and play this new track that I have from an exclusive artist. No one else has this artist right now. This is going to be Dreamy Neo Soul with Frequency of Love.
I've been floating in the silence, waiting for your heart to tune. All these waves between us breaking, can you feel what I've been through? Can you see you hurting me? Can you see I deserve to be in a 58 plus vanity to this isolation with you? Every breath feels like static when we're out of harmony. I keep reaching for connection, but you drift away from me. Can you see you hurting me? Can you see I deserve to be in an ultimate plus 4 feet to is isolation with you? I deserve love that resonates, pure vibration, no mistakes. I deserve love that elevates, find my frequency. I deserve love that resonates, perfect healing, perfect space. I deserve love that elevates.
So as we proceed, everybody, I just want to say thank you for coming through and listening to this podcast, even if you just stumbled across it. Frequency of Us, becoming human. Now, do you ever wonder what it means to be human? You know, I used to think it was simple, just existing, walking, breathing, working, sleeping, typical stuff, right? But when you've known yourself as light, as something infinite, unbound by matter, entering this dense world feels like stepping into mud after a lifetime of floating. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the vibe that I'm getting. And so, I remember my first years here. Everything was loud. You know, emotion hit like thunder. Sound carried weight. The body, heavy, strange. Hungry for touch, for comfort, for meaning. Right? And, this being of light tried to understand what all of that was supposed to mean. And at first, right, like everybody, I resisted. I did. I'm not gonna lie. I thought, why would I choose this? Like, the pain, the confusion, the fear of being misunderstood. I missed the clarity, the pure resonance of being energy and motion. But slowly I began to realize that the mud wasn't punishment. It was like a fertile ground, it just really carried a weight that I came from vibration. Frequencies that spoke without words. Then I landed in a place where words were broken sounds people used to try to explain feelings they didn't understand. Like the typical American or anybody overseas, anybody with an emotion would understand this. I tried to speak the language of emotion, but my voice cracked under the weight of it, and people call it growing up, but it felt more like sinking down into systems, survival mode, self-doubt. Are you feeling anything that I'm saying right now? And yet, even though that heaviness, there was a small light. Music, laughter, the warmth of someone seeing you for who you really are. Those moments were frequencies of remembrance. Tiny reminders that I wasn't just human. I was remembering how to be human. Now, there came a time when I couldn't ignore the call anymore, My body felt like an antenna, picking up the signals from something higher, right? You go from just seeing 1111 every few months to now you're seeing it every single day, including 222, 444, 1212, 2727, 8787. So many different numbers all the way into the 5 digits. And so I started to hear the music of it in everything. The dreams, they turned into lessons. Coincidences became messages, and the silence, that has been the biggest teacher for me. The hum of street lights, the rhythm of rain, the vibration of voices in pain and in joy. And it was like remembering a song I'd forgotten long, long ago. And when I started moving in harmony with it, life didn't feel like suffering anymore. It felt like a symphony. Like if I was the maestro really making these strings churn while I was making everything else go. And that's kind of when I realized, we are all instruments of light, learning to play in tune with the universe. Literally. Some days we're offbeat, right? AKA we're off our game, or whatever you want to call it. Everybody has a different saying, but some days we strike the perfect chord, right? It's just that melody that hits. But it's all music, all parts of the same great frequency, the frequency of us. Now, people talk about DNA upgrades and or spiritual transitions, but for me, it was more personal than that, It wasn't cosmic surgery or anything. It was emotional alchemy. Every time I forgave, my body felt lighter. Every time I chose love instead of fear, like recently, I almost got into a fight at the laundromat because this guy had so much, I don't know what it was, but his energy was on level 0, like negative 45,000, and it's like I chose love in that moment of him wanting to fight me over a parking spot that, quite frankly, he could have just went to the next one next to me. They were both open. But I chose to be the bigger person, for what it was worth, because I don't want to fight with anybody. I have no reason to fight with homie. It was a misunderstanding, if anything, and again, that felt good to forgive him for his ways, and choosing love instead of fear and locking my doors and let me call the police and No, I stood in the face of evil and I called it out and said, hey, listen, it doesn't have to be this way. And he literally corrected himself, literally. He was like, hey man, listen, you're right, I didn't have to go that hard, I'm sorry bro. He gave me daps. And everything ended up being really good. It was really, really good. It felt like a huge spiritual accomplishment in my life because I hadn't been hit with that kind of scenario in my life since I was young. I was in my early to late 20s when that happened. And so this was just last week. And this is not like I'm becoming somebody new, This is me stopping all the running from the pain and letting myself speak, and evolve. And I just remember who I've always been, who I always was, And when you rise from the mud, you realize that the mud was never the enemy. The mud was the cocoon. It shaped you, it challenged you, and it demanded that you bloom. The same way bacteria blooms inside of the dirt, right? To make a ecosystem or an environment for the dirt to prosper all the grass and other things that need the fertilizing natural essence of the dirt and just the life force of it, a new frequency, not of escaping or running again, but embodiment, because the greatest miracle right now isn't leaving Earth. I mean, we all know, a lot of us, at least myself, is that this is not my planet. I'm surely a guest on this planet, so I try to treat it as such, but I'm learning how to be light here on this planet Earth. And that's the greatest miracle for me. For sure. These days I wake up grateful to feel both spirit and skin. It's an amazing feeling once you can distinguish, even though they're all one, right? We're all one, interconnected with the whole universe, and that includes everything and everyone within it, and outside of it too, everything, the whole mass of it, It's about vibration, emotion, and motion. It's about remembering that you're infinite, even while you're finite, right? We all have a ticking time, a meter that's gonna go off one day, and it's gonna be like, doo, 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 doo. That's it. Time's up. It's time to transcend now. And it's like just realizing that the mud and the stars were never separate. That's the really profound part about it, is that they were always one reflection since the dawn of time and creation. And when you finally see that, you understand why souls come here, why light beings choose the weight, why spirit becomes skin, because here you can touch the lesson. On earth you can taste love. I mean, for God's sakes, you can freaking fall and rise and, call it alchemy, call it what you want. For me, I call it becoming. So if you're listening right now, feeling heavy, if you're feeling lost or wondering why it's so hard, remember this. Every bruise on your soul is proof that you're learning to hold light in form. Every heartbreak that you felt, that's a reminder that love is meant to move through you and not stay still. Don't become complacent in love. Every time you get back up, your frequency expands. It can't expand. You can't become a god if you don't act like a god, or be of God. Try to be of God. Some of us will make efforts, some of us will fall short and will fail into the end of this life, but we came here to remember. That's what we came here for, right? To bring heaven into the human and to make music out of chaos. And that, my friends, is the frequency of us. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Peace.